Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to Water Think Tank. I'm Siwa and will be hosting today's Pitch Perfect program. To those who newly joined us, a brief introduction on us, right? Water Think Tank is an initiative to create a space to explore and discuss past experiences, current approaches, innovations, and future needs related to the water ecosystem in a broad sense of definition. Therefore, in the Water Think Tank, we would like to consider every aspect of the water ecosystem. The segment of interest includes, but not limited to, basic human rights, hygiene, health, well-being, green agenda, circular economy, and climate change. Today in our program, we will be interviewing Engineer Elias on the DIY rainwater harvesting. Welcome, Engineer Elias. How are you doing?
Hello everyone.
That's great.
Let's hope we have a nice presentation tonight.
That's great. A brief introduction about our Engineer Elias. He graduated from University of Tasmania and holds a master in environmental engineering. From there onwards, he has developed an interest in environmental management with special interest in sustainability of water. He has presented numerous papers on rainwater harvesting in conferences and contributed so many journals. Not forgetting, he is also a council member of the IEM and previous chairman of the Water Resource Technical Division IEM, and he was also the past president of the Rotary Club of Shah Alam. And we from Water Think Tank would like to really welcome you, and we are very happy to have you in this session. All right, Engineer Elias, we are going to discuss on the rainwater harvesting. All right, so could you explain on the term on share on the term of rainwater harvesting? And many of us are very curious whether we are very curious whether this harvested rainwater will be good and safe for household use. And if, let's say, because in terms of houses, right, the sizes of the houses, the land use that requires to have this rainwater harvesting system installed at site. Could you share some experience and explain to us based on this kind of information to our viewers?
Okay, thank you, Siva. Good evening, everyone. You all can see me, but I can't see you all. So I don't know who my viewers are, which is quite tough. It could be anyone. Anyway, I hope I'm not too offensive. I'll just share my little experience on what rainwater and perhaps some scientific background and from aspects of sustainability. First question we ask is, what is rainwater, right? Simple, whatever falls from the sky. If it's in Arctic, would be snow from the sky. The way Malaysians or other Nahrim have defined rainwater is before it touches the ground. Once it touches the ground, we consider it runoff, and in Malaysia, we don't say rainwater. But of course, it's still rainwater flowing down, and before it reaches the river or stream or the sea or whatever, of course, you can still capture it, because overseas, they do capture runoff and term it also as rainwater. There is an international association, Rainwater Catchment System Association, which Malaysia is a party to it through Nahrim. And there's also a local interest group, very small, not very active, Rainwater Harvesting Association Malaysia, chaired by Dato' Ahmad Jamaluddin. It's a bit difficult to move nowadays, NGOs funding. So viewers, friends, rainwater harvesting. So you want to harvest, get some benefits from rainwater that's falling. Of course, rainwater falls in the dam. Perhaps I've got a slide, Siva, if I can go along the slide and as I talk, and then perhaps the viewers are not so boring looking at my
Sure,
my face only. I share the slides now, which I have to do now. I have to. Oh no! Hang on. I have to share my slide. Okay, I'm new to this screen, viewers. Actually, what as I talk, sustainability aspect of rainwater. Why do you want to harvest rainwater, actually? Hey, I haven't got my slides back. How come? Hang on. Punta, can you help me there? I'll try again. I've got problems. Anyway, I'll try to get the slides later. Sorry, guys.
It's okay, Engineer Elias. We can share those
Yes,
slides
yes.
later part in the comment section. But we can
Can,
go.
can.
You can explain in the live interview on about
Yes,
what
I will
is
explain now.
yeah. Don't worry so
Yes.
much on the slides.
So,
It's okay.
what I was going to say just now was why suddenly we talk about harvesting rainwater. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can hear you very
Hello?
clearly.
Okay. Good. Why are we harvesting rainwater? Right. There's two reasons why people harvest rainwater out of necessity when they don't have enough water and no other source of water, necessity. And also nowadays people harvest rainwater for environmental sustainability. Why? Because water that's coming through our tap, if you know what water that's coming from a dam or an river intake, kilometers away, and that's being pumped, treated, a lot of chemicals, a lot of energy use, and then pumped and put through large pipes, smaller pipes, smaller pipes until it gets to your house. And then what the person does is use the water to just wash your car or wash the floor of your kitchen or your porch. Now that water that you're using in your porch has got to come from a long distance, and imagine how much energy and resources has gone to it so that you can just use it to wash your car or wash your car porch or kitchen floor. Now, rainwater, we get it falling right on your doorstep. If we let it go to the drain, we let it waste. That's why we're talking about harvesting the rainwater so that we can use it within our house. So, sustainability means if you use rainwater for suitable purposes within the house, you can use it for washing your car. We will see later how you can use rainwater. And then it becomes a sustainable practice because we don't have to use that unsustainable water, so-called, that's coming from the water treatment plant, chemicals, and so much, what we call carbon dioxide emissions in the process, contributing towards climate change. This is what sustainability, a big part of sustainability about climate change. So now we're using water sustainably because we're using the resource where it falls without any added, CO2 value to it. So it's use it where it is. That's practice of sustainability also. For example, you don't want to import food when you get local food, right? So you consume local food because of sustainability issues. Because carbon footprint of that food, so-called local, is smaller. So same with the water, the raindrop falling your home, the footprint carbon is definitely smaller. So sustainable use of rainwater. Okay, today the topic is DIY, and as Siva pointed out, people are more interested, perhaps focus more on why and how to harvest rainwater in your house.
Yes.
I wish I haven't got problems with my presentation. As I talk,
I have a question here. In comparison to municipal water quality and also some places we use well water quality, where does this rainwater harvesting stands?
Okay. The purest form of water is actually rainwater in the clouds. Right. That's actually pure water. I've got a slide of what we call a bottled Tasmanian rainwater. I graduated from University of Tasmania, so very nice. I didn't know then, but lately when I was going into rainwater, I found that they actually bottle rainwater, send it overseas, even to US. Nice restaurant selling at $30 per bottle, and that water has got almost zero impurity. Why? Because it comes from the west of the Tasman Sea or Tasmania. There's no island, nothing there. So that water has got almost zero impurity. That's how pure rainwater captured on the ground, right? But as it goes through the atmosphere, if it falls in Shah Alam industrial city, you capture all the chemicals and whatever acid, then I would say in that area, If you do harvest rainwater, you have to be a bit careful about the quality of the water and how you want to use it. But you want to wash your car, if it's not too acidic, you want to wash the floor, no big reason. But I can tell you in Australia, outback Australia, they actually harvest big tanks of rainwater because there's no other source of water, and they actually drink it direct. That's how pure the rainwater is. Drink it direct. They don't even have to boil it. Why?
That's great.
Yeah. If you know a bit of biology, in our water when we drink it, we can't do anything about the chemicals, but the biological microbes in the water, they need nutrients. Nutrients come from what we call pollution, pollutants in the water, and this actually food for the microbes. For the microbes, these are the one that's causing us to get stomach ache and diarrhea and stuff like that. So when the water is stored in the tank, nicely closed, no sunlight, the microbes start eating food, algae, grows inside there, and there's no more food. The microbes start eating themselves, and later on, there's no more microbes in the tank. This kind of situation is also found in Bangladesh, where people actually store, plenty of water in the tank. A group of research scientists went and found that the rainwater stored in their pots, big clay jars, over a period of time, longer time, the water becomes more pure, microbes free. They don't have to treat it. So interesting, Interesting. So that's how good rainwater can be.
Coming back to the question, how much space does it require to collect rainwater for a household use?
Okay. What space? Okay. The roof is already available. They call what we call a capture surface.
Yeah.
You already capture the water from the roof, and then you need have gutters and pipes to divert it to your tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And the tank's got to be located in a suitable position where easy access for you to use. If you've got a ready house, obviously you cannot put it under your roof. You got to put it on the floor somewhere in the kitchen, or preferably 5 feet above the ground, and then you can use it with a hose to water your garden or clean your household 5 feet above the ground. But a bit of cost to raise the tank higher. You put on the ground, and then you need a small pump to get the water out, or you use buckets. But space is actually where you want to put your tank. If you got a link house, you put it in the back of your house. You won't put it in front, unless you're really a rainwater what they call enthusiast and want to show the world that I have rainwater. But most people would think that it's not pleasant looking a black water tank in front of their house.
Yes.
Although there are lots of nice slides which I'm trying to recover as I talk. Of installations in Australia, for example, which are very nice, nicely done. So back to space. First, you have to look at your roof, and then look at how the water from your roof is going to go to your tank, and where you're going to put your tank. Right? You want to put it as near to the gutter as possible, so that you don't have long piping and a lot of issues, problems, and unpleasant sites of pipes running all over your house, outside your house. Is that okay, Siva?
All right. Yeah. Engineer Alias, we have a few questions from a viewer. Maybe we can take 1-2 questions. We have one from Raja. All right. He has asked, is there a special requirement in the setup to get the water to be self-purified, as you described earlier?
Self-purified. Okay.
Self-purified.
Yes. DIY rainwater. When I started looking into water earlier, I looked at Australia, US, Texas, for example, Hawaii, Israel. They do a lot of harvesting rainwater. General practice is what we call for the domestic use, which we are looking at, DIY domestic use. What we call first flush system, a first flush diverter. I've got to look for my slides. It's easier to explain. So a first flush system means the roof water that's coming out of the roof. You have to install this first flush system. You imagine when it's not been raining for 2-3 days or a week, a lot of dirt and dust has fallen on your roof, stays there. Some bird shit maybe, and so forth. So when it starts to rain, all the water is going to rainwater. First flush, the first fall of rain is going to wash all this dirt off your roof, right?
Yeah.
So we call it this first runoff, this first flush we call it. This first runoff of water, about 1 mm usually, first a few seconds of rainfall, it starts to flow away. You divert it, not to go into your tank.
Okay.
I have to show a photo. It's a bit difficult. Maybe I can draw some sketches. But
Yeah.
you divert the water away.
So, you can sketch it out. No issue.
No, never mind. I'll try again sharing, but I'll keep on talking anyway. So the first flush, it means that that part is where you want to keep the water purified, meaning that you want the balance of the water, which is the good quality water, to go into your tank. So that's how you sort of purify it by that way. And most practices of rainwater, even in Malaysia now, is mandatory for commercial buildings and houses above what I think 2,000 meters squared or something like that. I can't recall, but it's quite practice now to install diverter.
Yeah. Talking about the quality of water, rainwater, we have a question from a viewer, Dr. Mazaini. Okay, he has asked what's the quality of rainwater in terms of whether the fish can live with it, or is it class 2B? Will you care to take the question? Yeah. What human need contact?
Okay. There's been some, not that many what we call water information on water quality of rainwater. I think Roslan earlier on, Prof. Roslan from UITM, he did measure some pH. I think Nahrim also measured some pH. You are talking about fish. I think fish very tolerant. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying that I think rainwater goes into the stream as long as there's no pollution. The fish all survive well. I think no issue about what we call, even you said second, what's the name? Class 2 water. I mean, you can swim in rainwater, right?
Yeah.
Class 2B. I would say even first class, class 1, because it's so pure. If you harvest it properly, right? The only, if I may share, only what we call a hazard that's associated with rainwater, apart from some bad experiences of you are in the area where smoke, as pollution happen to be in the atmosphere, and then it falls in your tank, and then you handle it. Maybe you get some itchiness. You put in your face. Maybe you have problems of eyes. So apart from that, but as far as the quality of water, rainwater, generally is good for class 2. There's one environmentalist, I won't mention his name, in the environment guy, a big guy, Saleh, turned Malaysian. He helped him to install rainwater. 100% he used it within his house, even for shower and cleaning up. He's so confident. His house in Sungai Buloh. I think not much factories around. So rainwater is actually very friendly water. Okay.
We have another question from Miss Anita Naidu. Why should harvest rainwater? Water is cheap, especially in Malaysia.
As I mentioned earlier, in Malaysia, it's not out of necessity. That's why historically, before independence, our forefathers, they have either well water or they use a lot of rainwater stored in tank beside the house. Of course, associated with it, vermin, especially mosquitoes, dengue lah. You got to really seal and make sure mosquitoes will come in. But they do quite well until the government decides to pipe water to the kampungs and everywhere else. Until we are almost 98% now pipe water supply, or maybe like that. So the rainwater is no longer a necessity to harvest. But now the trending is Malaysians are aware of sustainability. So when you actually practicing rainwater harvesting, you're doing it more on sustainability aspect, because our water has always been, people say always too cheap, right? And you get 20 ringgit free So really, if you ask me to get a price return in terms of investment, the cost of installation, and then how much you're saving, 30-40% of your daily monthly consumption, which average household, let's say even 30 ringgit, 40 ringgit. So you save maybe 12 ringgit a month, a year 120 ringgit, 10 years 1,200. Your water tank installation, plumber will probably charge you 600 ringgit for 200 gallon tank, 150 gallon tank. So you find that if you work out the maths, you can't actually get a good return. What has happened overseas is they cost in, for example, in Sydney, they cost in the environmental damage and the CO2. And at one time, every household installing rainwater will get 1,000 ringgit front of rebate. So that
That's very true.
the government is actually paying, people actually paying for you to save the environment kind of situation. I must share with you, Majlis PJ and Shah Alam and Subhan Jaya, I'm not sure about Shah Alam, but they do give some rebates, not so much 1,000 ringgit, but I think at one time it was like 2 months or 3 months of your assessment. Cukai pintu. So there's some encouragement, and they come and verify your installation and stuff like that. At one time, I'm not sure whether that's still available now. So those things are the one that may help you to offset your cost of investment lah. Water too cheap lah, Malaysia. Everyone complaining. Yeah.
All right, guys. Whoever joined us today, we have Engineer Alias. He's sharing his experience on DIY rainwater harvesting. And stay tuned with us. We have more questions coming up and more valuable sharing from him. All right, Engineer, I can't. I have to ask this. Do I need a special kind of roof in order to implement this kind of rainwater harvesting? I'm very sure there is some type of roof that you have to consider when you want to collect these rains.
If really any flat good surface can capture rain. Atap roof. Atap roof will also capture rain. But you got to have a system of collecting the rain. Like we have gutters. If you don't have gutters, and then your rainfall is going to fall off the edge of your roof. It's got to be diverted somewhere, captured somewhere. So there's no real needs of a pure any roof that can capture the rainfall. Because like I said earlier, the quality of water and what you want to use it for. In Malaysia, according to a consumption survey done per household, if I take in, unfortunately I cannot show the slides. If I can take in cleaning around the house, what you call even showering, inverted comma, watering the plants and cleaning up, toilet flushing, it will come up to about 35% of your total consumption per day. So if you really substitute rainwater, even from a roof, like you said, it may not be necessarily very pure, and you can actually use it for these purposes. My house has got a toilet flush for now almost 12 years. I moved into this nice bungalow, which I couldn't share the photo. And I've got lazy now. I don't even go and service my my flush diverter anymore. I just let it run through, and I'm happy. I flush my toilet every day, and there's no issues. I've got about. I'm not saying I've got a big house, about 7 toilets. In the house flushing. I used to have 7 people staying in my house, and now I'm only left with 3 or 4 of us only. The kids have all got married since the last 10 years. But no fear, DIY, I'm sharing with you, please practice harvesting rainwater until the government puts up the price of water, help the environment. Let's hope the government, I've been talking about it, recognize this and starts to give more rebate and encourage people to harvest rainwater. Perhaps on a bigger circle, I'm also in the water circle. Actually, at the moment, more push on raising the price of water, which I heard even in Taiwan, when the ruling party decide to raise the price of water, the next election they lost. It's that sensitive. So in Taiwan, when I was there, they said water rates has not been raised for over 10 years because no one wants to lose the election. So I guess that's the same kind of thinking in Malaysia, right? No political party dare raise the water rate so high. perhaps, I don't know.
It's very sensitive.
Okay.
All right, we have another question from a viewer. What can rainwater be used for at home? Does it require any treatment?
Treatment. Okay.
Adding on to that
Over.
question, engineer, is it safe to use this stored rainwater in the storage tank for cooking and drinking? Is there any other treatment? Adding on to that, to the viewer's question.
Yeah. Okay. You see, my own answer is yes, because cooking you're going to kill the microbes anyway. You know, even you boil the water and then you can drink it like ordinary water, because the whole idea is to kill microbes, right? When you're drinking water from your tap, chlorine is there actually so much to make sure there's no microbes to make you sick, really. So water that you use for cooking and drinking, no microbes. Okay, chemicals and stuff like that, we leave it aside lah. That one depends on your source and stuff like even drinking water, they got to be monitored carefully. There's no heavy metals and stuff like that. But in terms of microbes, you getting sick from diarrhea and what we call gastrointestinal diseases, stomach ache and stuff like that, especially children and the vulnerable group, older people. So I use it for my laundry. Yes, I do. I sometimes when water gets cut off, I use that same tap, rainwater tap, to use it for cooking. My family takut, but maybe they don't know, because I do cooking at home sometimes. So is it safe to cook? Yes.
Oh, that's good.
But the caution is your area must be clean lah. You're next to the industrial area, definitely you don't harvest rainwater lah. All sorts of stuff in your rainwater. Maybe you don't feel it, but when you consume it, it's not so safe lah. If you do harvest rainwater in that kind of area, then make sure it doesn't itch you with too much acid component inside. And then if you use it for first washing the floor, okay, you don't have to really get into body contact too much of that. Washing the car, perhaps some body contact there. And if the water is still okay, you can use it for laundry, gardening. Now, and then if you're still brave enough, you can even shower it, although Nahrib doesn't recommend it, because when shower, some may sort of touch your lips and they're worried about this contamination, contaminants, germs, microbes, really, so you can shower, laundry. So with that kind of use, like I said, you can save up to 35-40% of your household. In Western Australia, for example, in the summer, they use it to water their lawn. They can save up to 50-60% of their monthly consumption, because they do water a lot their lawns. So, for us, we use for all these things. You can use it, no issue.
All right. Okay, we have a few more questions from viewer. All right. Where can we get guideline or SOPs for rainwater harvesting?
Okay. Yes, plenty. Malaysia has got 3 or 4 guidelines. Internationally, if you Google, Texas, everywhere they got a lot of guidelines how to drain water, even DIY. A lot of literature available nowadays. Information age. Malaysia, we do have one produced by JPS, 2 volumes produced by Nahrib. KPKT a few years back also published one manual on how to harvest rainwater. But generally, these manuals are also the same as foreign manuals, Texas rainwater harvesting methods. So you Google, you can get all these manuals. They tell you, for example, a practice of runoff. If you're a bit of an engineer or mathematician, you can calculate 1 inch of rainfall. First flush, 1 inch of rainfall is the one that you want to divert away. That's a guideline. And then the balance rainfall, like we get sometimes 6 inches, 8 inches. Well, 5-6 inches you can capture and store in your tank, nice and clean and without requiring any further treatment. Caution though, some people may introduce, I don't, but introduce a sedimentation filter just after the tank, so that there may be some dirt in the tank that after rainfall may wash out, that may come to your system. So that may interfere, but there are techniques. My house, I don't use any filter at all, and no problems of sediments. Sometimes I do get, to be honest, sometimes I do get some sediments on the bottom of my flush bowl, toilet bowl. You can see some dirt there. And once I flush it off, it disappears. But I believe that one actually came from the roof. Perhaps, my first flush is not so efficient. But who cares? It's going down the drain anyway. This water, and it's not inverted comma dangerous in that sense. Okay.
We have an interesting question from Mr. Philip. It's quite a common thing that people get fever when get wet in rain. What in rain that causes such fever?
People get fever when they go out to the rain. All white still, I think. Sorry, I'm not saying anything, but yeah, I mean, we young kids say, hey, don't go and play the rain, nanti demam nanti, hey, sesama. I'm sure I'm not a doctor, but I believe it's not the rainwater per se that's making you sick. Maybe you keluar sudah sejuk, you get cold with the water, and then you don't, dry up very fast, and then you catch a cold or something. I don't believe it's a water quality itself, unless, like I say again, you're in an area where a pollutant happen to blow and then the rain falls. Of course, you can get itchy hands. They do that. Yeah. I know one instance of a school complaint received in school in the what you call in the inner part of Sabah, because they got no water, so they do have rainwater for the schools. And suddenly the children complaining itchy hands. So all they have to do is actually go and clean up the system, flush out the water, and then start again. Because it's something went wrong somewhere there. But it's like that, just flush out the water, clean up, and then you continue again, because once in a while perhaps you get some contaminants or something unlucky, an insect may drop into your tank, if you don't seal it properly. But talking about tanks, I think the big issue in Malaysia is mosquitoes, vermins. If you do store rainwater, please ensure all openings, holes. If you need ventilation, put your netting, very fine netting, so that insects and especially mosquitoes can go in. Otherwise, you end up paying berapa ribu? 5,000 majlis.
Yeah, depending on the lawa.
Yeah, I know majlis have been to my house a couple of times.
Raja, in Malaysia, on average, how much water can we collect for a typical link house?
Ayo. Raja, can I send you the figures later? I'm not good in memories.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, maybe you can actually size of your tank. There's two aspects. One is the roof size. Of course, the bigger the roof, the more water you can capture at every rainfall. Of course, rain sometimes 2 inches, sometimes 8 inches are heaviest rainfall. And because your size of your tank, right? If you have that size tank, how big your roof is, it's going to just go overflow every time it rains. It's going to overflow. That's how much you can store lah. Kan? If you have a small roof, you have a big tank, your tank will never fill up, right?
Yep, agree.
Because your roof is too small and you keep using it. So your size of your tank, actually there's some mathematics involved. In the manuals, you can actually work it out. How much of your roof you can actually capture depend on your size of your tank. More size of your tank. And also your pattern of consumption. How do you consume your water? So interestingly, I can share with you, Nahrim has got a calculator, I don't know how accurate it is. They will ask you also a question, just fill in the blank like an Excel kind of question. Then they will tell you, your size with your roof and your pattern of consumption, a suitable tank size for you will be, so many gallons. And then you probably, long run, utilize about maybe 60%, 40% of the potential rainfall that's falling on your roof, because you must strike economics, of course, somewhere along the way. So I think don't worry so much about that. Just put a tank, capture water, use it.
Right. That's great. So viewers, we have Engineer Elias here. He's sharing some experience and on this DIY rainwater harvesting. If you do have any question, please post it. We will take it up to him and he will answer to it. And Engineer, I just want to ask, let's say Malaysia, we have lots of public holidays. What if at all we leave home for multiple weeks or months? So what happens to this rainwater harvesting system?
What happens? Nothing. Because you have an overflow in your tank anyway. we have an overflow. So if it rains too much and you don't receive the water, just naturally will overflow. One thing I must share with you, urban rainwater harvesting system, urban, because you're talking about how much water you can save in your tank, urban. If you are in need, you make the biggest tank in the world to store, like Australia, they don't have any source of water. But in urban situation, practice in Australia, America, we call it a top-up system. For example, my tank in my house, 3 tanks are serving flushing system. Suddenly, it doesn't rain for drought season. No water tank in my rainwater tank, I cannot flush my toilet. So what we do is we have a top-up, because we know we have a regular water supply, pipe supply coming to our house, which we use for cooking and everything else, showering and whatnot. So we have a top-up system. Basically, how it works is, your tank, water full, rainfall, good, jolly, and you keep using it, and then it rains, it top up again, rains. And then suddenly it doesn't rain for a long time, you go down, almost, 6 inches below the water level, your JBA water is going to top it up. But you don't top it up full tank. Just top it up, until enough. And then if it's still not raining, you keep on topping up like that. And suddenly it rains. Then you don't need the JBA water anymore. But this is the topping up system, the backup. So it doesn't convenient you in a urban situation, like flushing toilet. Suddenly I cannot flush my toilet, die. And if my house, I put dual system, gardening. I don't want to run out of rainwater and then I cannot garden my plants. I have to, source somewhere. So I actually put 2 pipes, one lower pipe, one higher pipe. I wish I show my slides. Higher JBA water. Lower one is rainwater, which, I use it permanently until there's no rain. But I don't experience no rain because, like I said, I have a good top-up system. I just put it there because I wanted to be sure I put that confident. In case sometimes I tell you it did happen, COVID time, I think almost a month, I didn't realize my rainwater pipe was leaking somewhere. And I actually had problem with toilet flushing. It's a plumbing problem, not so much the system, plumbing, the pump. Apparently the pipe broke somewhere underground. I didn't realize it. And I keep saying, how come I'm running out of water after heavy rain so soon? So I later managed to trace it to a big leak. I have to dig out a big hole and repair that section of the pipe. There's a plumbing problem, nothing to do with the system, rainwater per se.
All right, engineer, if at all it's a new house, it's under construction, it is easier to implement this rainwater housing system. I mean, to build up this whole tank and things. What if it's a built house and you want to viewers? I mean, I'm asking on behalf of viewers. Maybe viewers have interest to install this rainwater system. So, are we required to redo the entire plumbing system, or we can just add on certain features of plumbing pipes in order to carry out this rainwater system to install this?
When I built my house 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and before that, in my old house also, I tried to put some tank outside, just not really a system, inverted comma, really gutter going to a tank, only just, for the sake of but of course retrofitting is not as neat as can planning ahead, because when you retrofit, like I said earlier, you got to find a place to put your tank, and then it's not at the place where it's hidden or things like that. And when you retrofit also, piping. You got to expose your pipe. You look outside your roof, gutter, kitchen pipe all over the place. Mine, I make it. I've got 3 piping system in my house: hot water, normal JBA water, and then the rainwater. I got 3 pipes running around. So in my toilet, I got 3. One hot for you all want nice hot shower, ordinary water, JBA for washing my face and stuff like that, going to the basin, and then the third one is going to flush my toilet, rainwater. So that's planned ahead. But imagine if retrofit, you want to hack and put pipes in, it's very costly. So you probably have to run it exposed if you want to flush your toilet, for example. And which you probably won't do lah. You retrofit, you probably stay away from indoors lah. Just use it outdoors for gardening and general cleaning lah. Yeah.
All right. So is this rainwater harvesting a new trend here in Malaysia? I think in overseas it's not a new trend. People have been using this in many years back. But how about in Malaysia, engineer?
Yeah, yeah. Trend, trend. Um, when 10 years, 12, 15 years ago, when I first got interested in water, actually, I actually came back from visiting my daughter studying in Sydney. When I was there visiting her about 15 years ago now, there was an international conference, green kind of conference. I went in there and I saw, hey, they're having grey water reuse. They're having harvesting rainwater, having what we call waterless toilets. It got me excited because I'm a civil engineer, consultancy practice. I design structures, I do roads, drain, water, that kind of thing. And I do my own
Yes.
practice, and I offer this service, the civil and structural engineering, small firm. So it started me to go green. That's actually when I took my master's in environmental engineering. So
There you go.
the yeah, so that people listen to me. I'm not a civil engineer. I'm an environmental engineer. But
Yes.
the thing is consciousness and practice. We always say the Mat Saleh so-called, generally speaking, they and Japanese, for example, not just Mat Saleh, Japanese also good in this, Japanese, Koreans, not just Mat Saleh, not the stories is there. Perhaps other people in the world. So, but generally, these people who are conscious of environment, they know effects of climate change, how much water they're consuming, and they do actually practice it, right? Even Japanese, we keep on saying, they even remind each other, they take the trouble to recycle. So in terms of water usage, so they are quite aware. Malaysians, unfortunately, if I just say generally speaking, don't sue me. We are aware. We know. We've been taught in class. On TV lah, the OE tunjuk-tunjuk, blah blah blah, recycle lah. But when in practice, forget everything. Forget. Brush your teeth pun buka air, wash your car also water. That time you forget. I think this is Malaysia. Unfortunately, I just say Malaysian lah, just to make ourselves more conscious. We don't practice what we know. Very lacking in our society, if I may say, from my own view lah. My own view. Don't sue me for this.
All right. Okay. So,
Is that okay? Yeah.
all right. So,
So you
engineer.
said trending is not Asiva. You said trending. So that's why
Yes.
my own experience is earlier on, before the government make it mandatory, lots of environmentalists and perhaps a couple or 2 or 3 millionaires so-called, I want to be green. So I went and offered them some retrofit harvesting. I dig a big hole in the ground, put a small pump, and then they use it to water their big garden around the house. Orang kaya kan, big house, and they use a lot of water, so they're happy with that lah. They find they save water lah, but they're not talking about the cost of pumping, cost of the tanks. They're quite happy that they're not using JBA water, unfortunately lah. And then now that the government introduced it forcibly, what happening is after they install it, things break down, they won't repair it because there's no monitoring, no penalty. Some even dah installed, dapat CCC clearance, terus tutup lah, tak payahlah, JBA water so cheap lah. So sometimes, you're trending and environmental consciousness. I think human bottom line, money lah, government have to recognize the damage to environment, put in some cost back so that people would want to install rainwater harvesting system because they get some money back lah, something like that lah. In the process, saving the environment. Yeah.
We have a question from our viewer, Ismail Yusuf. Right? He has asked that how to get more houses and buildings in Malaysia to set up rainwater harvesting facility.
The law is there now. Today, new projects lah. New project retrofit tak cerita lah. Those already existing, and government has not done anything yet lah, because even new projects, when you submit your building plans to the authorities to make a factory or commercial building or public building, they will put a requirement. The Majlis will put requirement di BKL ke, Majlis Bandaraya ke, that you have to install a rainwater harvesting system in your project. So it's planned ahead. So in other words, you say how is it going to be used? Well, the government is using the what we call a carrot and stick kind of thing. So put a stick there. So for you to get your building plans approved, you have to install and I do that earlier on. Do install tanks and capture. The architect will draw his pipe down. I think in the industry, construction industry, we're familiar with these things now. Rainwater harvesting system. Any project that I do today, obviously there'll be a rainwater harvesting system. I go in as a structural engineer in that project. So it becomes the mechanical engineer, also engineer, who does the internal plumbing in a building project anyway. I'm the structural engineer. I do the strong frame. So I don't actually do rainwater harvesting in my building projects in that sense lah. But it's a requirement and mandatory now for new projects.
Okay, we have a viewer asking us, Miss Izani, is it legal to harvest rainwater in Malaysia? Do we need to get any approval from government agency?
There's no requirement, what you call approvals per se, because how does it work? How do I say that? It's like if you want to dig a well in your backyard and you don't disturb neighbors, personal consumption, you're not selling it. So, it's your water kind of situation. That's why you don't, disturb your neighbor, right? So, back to rainwater, there's no law to say that you cannot capture water that's falling on your roof. There's no requirement as such, approvals as such.
How about local authorities?
Okay? As far, like I said, you don't have to, if I want to install rainwater or somebody, I want to harvest rainwater, there's no submissions for a rainwater harvesting system. There's no submissions. If I want to connect extra toilet, okay lah, the law says that you're supposed to, submit to the authority, you're supposed to report back to Shabas or the water supply distributor that you want to put additional piping. Although sometimes people just overlook this and small thing and it's not enforced kind of thing. But definitely rainwater, there's no legal requirement for you to get permission or approvals.
Okay, so there is a viewer asked us, I think so this is from Che Ismail Yusof again. Does it mean that only new projects can have rainwater facilities and existing buildings are out of luck?
Yep. I just explained just now. At the moment, the only when you submit your building plans, because you have approval before you can start construction, right? So that's where the law stops you. If you don't show on your plan rainwater harvesting system, and then you cannot get approval, so you cannot start any construction work on your site, because they will come and find you for construction without approvals. Not rainwater harvesting approvals, but without full building approval, because they will never approve your building plan until your rainwater harvesting system is shown on your plans, right? And then you construct, right? And when it's completed, the architect or the engineer will have to sign off, say, yes, rainwater harvesting will install, CCC clearance, CFO, then you can safely occupy your house and theoretically use rainwater lah. But like I said, a lot of people, because water is so cheap, they just after a while they just don't maintain the system and use direct water lah. Very sad.
Okay, we have a question from Mr. Philip again. Especially with Selangor experience water cuts many times, is there any increase in rainwater harvesting among people to address the problem?
Actually, rainwater was promoted by previous KPKT. How many years ago now? When Malacca had a water problem, how many years ago? 15 years ago, I think, 16 years ago. And that time, the minister, Ong Kating, was the minister. I'm not good in age, my history very bad in what called time. But when Ong Kating was KPKT, first time we heard in public that we're going to look into harvesting rainwater to overcome this issue whenever there's shortage of water, due to droughts. So that's how it triggered off, but it took many years. I think now almost 10 over years, or 15 years, maybe 10 over years now before the law came out, building bylaw come out, like make it mandatory to have rainwater. There were a lot of projects in Bangi, for example, Pecan Air Strike putting rainwater, build a tank under the car wash, concrete tank, so that, your space not used up, a small cover. Put a small tank inside. And later on, from literature, they went to survey back and found out that people just didn't bother to run the pump and forgot about this rainwater backup and just use direct tap. Like I said, for the simple reason that it costs to run and to repair broken pump. And water is so cheap, why trouble?
Exactly.
I repair my pump, 300 ringgit. Yeah, it's like that. That's the experience. Sandakan mandatory to have houses because Sandakan had a lot of water problem. You can find whole new development link houses. Belakang ada tank, about 8 feet above the ground. Use it throughout the house for backup because sometimes they just don't have water. Sandakan. That was a few years back lah. Mungkin today sudah ada banyak contribution kot. Maybe now, but they do have that. So you said the trend and increase in harvesting rainwater. Yes, definitely. When the law came in, every project ada rainwater system lah. But I'd love to see a survey done. I've been talking here and there. I don't know who's going to spend the time and money to go and actually look back and see how all those rainwater system installed, how many are still operating and efficiently or not lah. Yeah. We like that some figures there.
Yeah, we have Zakiri Musa. He has asked, I think you have answered this question earlier. Is there any incentive for the public to install the rainwater harvesting facility at their own cost, like discount on your cukai pintu, unlike electricity where we can sell back to TNB? What Zakiri, like what Engineer Elias has explained earlier, I think MBPJ and MBSJ, all right, they have allowed for this discount on their cukai pintu, but other local authorities, I think, have not implement this. So maybe you have to check with your local authority. If they do have this kind of rebate or discount on installing rainwater harvesting system. All right. So coming back, so this is about mostly we've covered on the household rainwater system, right? Rainwater system in the household area.
Yes.
How about for industrial purpose? What's your comment?
Okay.
What's your opinion on this rainwater usage at the industrial purpose?
Industry with heavy water use, harvesting rainwater as a source, but they also, if they're a heavy user of water, they actually have looked at reusing the water back. Yeah, I've managed to get it sharing. Punita, maybe later we can quickly go through if you think we have time. I managed to.
That's great.
But when it comes to commercial, the most suitable surface to capture rainwater is actually big, nice factory, large roofs, right? Very large roofs. In fact, they can even be harvesting rainwater for the community. Now, this is the consumption I was sharing earlier in your house. How much you can save water. So commercial wise, very high potential, especially the ones with the big roof. If you have a nice vertical building like in the city center, very little theoretically very little catchment because theoretically the roof only capture rainwater lah. But recently they found out that actually because the rain doesn't actually fall vertical, right? Sometimes the rain actually is falling at an angle. So you can actually harvest the water that's falling on the walls, on your windows, and you can actually harvest those water and you store it in the tank and use it. So commercially, large roofs, very suitable. They can even become community centers for rainwater source. For this is the can I talk about the slide now? Something that benefits everyone. Punita?
Yeah. Engineer Elias, I would. It would be very great if you can show us those that you have installed in India, Bangladeshi that you have installed.
Yes. Yeah.
So
these are just pictorial to show how basic and rainwater can be. People are so innovative. even our neighbors. You know, the King of Thailand actually gives jars free because the King of Thailand has a big water budget every year. Japan, they store it underwater for firefighting. Even have a rain center in Calcutta. But I want to show you Malaysia. Now, Pulau Ketam. You know Pulau Ketam off Kelang. These are the rainwater harvesting system over there. Because why? They don't have pipe water crossing the channel to go to Pulau Ketam. So they've been having this water, and then suddenly government lay a pipe untuk elections, and then they disband their rainwater tank for a while, and then the pipe broken, and they find their rainwater system more reliable than the pipe. So Pulau Ketam, you have anyone really interested in water harvesting system, go and visit them. These are the nice Western water tanks. Australia, US, you can get nice things outside your house. Unlike what I've been talking about was our black thing. Perhaps you can import this if you have the money. Then we start talking about sustainability. Nice big tanks, houses there. Even
Engineer, would you like to show your bungalow?
Okay, coming. This is basic system I was mentioning earlier. Unfortunately, we missed it. Are we short of time, Shiva?
Yeah, we have about 4 minutes.
Okay. So basically, I could talk quickly. You have to look at your gutter. You've got to make sure it's nice and clean. Then we got some this we don't install. This is a diverter. Now, very important to understand this system. You look at the picture here. You can see the first rainfall that comes in here. It will drip into your diverter. There's a ball there. As it rains further, the dirty water doesn't flow through. It flows here until the water fills up this tube, and then the ball closes, and then the water starts to flow and goes into your tank like that. Like this. This is your first flush diverter volume. So the rainwater goes, the dirty one will go in here, and then the clean one will go into the tank later. When this gets full, it will block here, and the water will flow into this tank. So clean water go, dirty water goes in here, and there's an auto dripper which drains the water out over 2, 3, 4 hours to empty the tank, ready for the next rain. All right. I come to my house. This is one expensive installation I did around. A rich fellow who just want to be friendly with water. I hope I'm not offending him. Another one. This is an environmentalist installed for his own system. See the guy up there? I think Punya knows him. This is another rich guy. Look how many water tanks he put there. This is a hostel retrofit. I want to show you my house. This is my house, my own house. You can see how I do the roof because I plan for that. I do the roof, modern roof flowing inside. And then this is where I put my tank on the rooftop so that I don't have to use pumping. I can gravitate the water. And around my house, I put drippers to save water gardening. So it's auto sprinkled with a timer around the house. And this is my diverter and my water that flows to the tank. So 3 tanks are connected here. And this is the top-up system I was mentioning just now. This pipe is actually connected to Shabas or to the Air Selangor. So you can see this little float. You can buy in the hardware store, 15 ringgit, 20 ringgit. Whenever this float drops below this level, then the Shabas water will come in. And then when it comes up to this level, it will stop, waiting for the next rain. That's the top-up system we call, so that we will never run out of water in our own house. Oh, double throw. So a lot of guides available. Google. This is the Tasmanian I was telling you about. It sells for $30 US. That was the last slide. A quick slide. Yeah. So any.
All right. Okay. So Engineer Elias, we are running out of time, so we have another 1 minute to go. So before we wrap up, all right, would you want to share your hope to Malaysians about this rainwater harvesting?
Everyone in the drinking water industry, we always asking government to give the true value of water that's coming to our home. I'm not saying that we should be unpopular by just raising the price of water for water's sake, but in the first place, from my angle, they have not priced in the cost of the environment. And that's from environmental, they're looking at direct costs, but the cost of environment, CO2 emissions, all those things are costing. So if they do proper costing, and then perhaps water rates should go up. Sorry, I'm promoting water rates. I'm not a politician, so I don't have to lose any seats. But also we look ahead. Also, to the government looking at rebate when you harvest rainwater, like the electricity rebate. Rebate back some of your price, even though it's a little bit, but at least you feel good that you are contributing towards sustainability because I'm pricing water, and that water can also be used. That rebate can also be used to pay off new people who install rainwater harvesting system in terms of rebate to their installation costs, like they do overseas. They do overseas. So perhaps that's probably my wish. Be careful. They would talk when somebody asked me, is rainwater free? There were talks at one time. Water players, I hope Luas also don't come with that. They're charging water when you extract it from the river. So they say if a commercial place starts to install rainwater from the sky, I think the state wants to water. They are using it state water. So I think they don't think about it now. At one time they were thinking about that. Charging for heavy consumption of water commercially lah, not the individual houses lah, commercially. One good system, long time lama sample being used is the Damansara shopping complex. So they have a nice rainwater and using for flushing. They have a nice pump in the basement. Pioneer rainwater harvesting system. Damansara shopping center kan? Damansara.
Alright.
Shopping center kan? Am I right lah?
OUG?
So they have that, the car park, flat roof car park. So all that water is captured. Of course, they have some sedimentation filter, and that water goes into large tank underground and we used to pump up back and use for toilet flushing. It's been around for almost 20 years now. I hope it's still operating today.
Okay.
So they were doing it for environment. Yeah, pioneer.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Engineer Elias, for your experience, your sharing, your knowledge to all the viewers here. And from the Water Think Tank, we would like to wish you thank you. And to the viewers, please do follow us at Water Think Tank, Facebook, and we are also in LinkedIn, and also do subscribe our YouTube channel at Water Think Tank. And if you have any other questions, do post in the chat box. We will still get Engineer Elias to answer to it. All right. So we have shared the slides in the chat box. So please do view, and good night, and stay safe, everyone.
Stay home, stay safe.
All right.
Thank you.